So, a very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Dr. Ishan Bakshi, Assistant Professor, School of Hospitality. So, students, in the last session, we were studying about cooking and cooking methods, and we had covered dry heat cooking methods till deep frying. So, in this session, we are going to start from where we had left in the last session. So, the next dry heat cooking method that we are going to study is sauteing. So, sauteing basically cooking quickly over high heat. Cooking is done usually small amounts of fat. Cooking is done using a pan with sloping sides. After cooking, the fat is discarded and the pan is deglazed with stock or wine as a part of finished sauce. Typically used for delicate food items such as seafoods, tender cuts of meats, and vegetables. It is considered a very healthy cooking method. So, what are the advantages of sauteing? Quick cooking. This cooking method is ideal for small, tender cuts of meat, vegetables, and seafood. Enhanced flavor. High heat develops flavor through browning, which is called Maillard reaction. Fat adds richness and aroma. Nutrient retention. Short cooking time helps preserve vitamins and minerals better than boiling or baking. Versatility. This cooking method is suitable for a wide variety of food items such as vegetables, meats, poultry, pasta toppings, etc. Control. In this cooking method, the temperature is very easy to adjust, and apart from that, you can adjust the seasoning and doneness while the cooking process is in progress. Minimal fat retention. This cooking method uses less oil than pan frying or deep frying, making it comparatively lighter. Texture and color. This cooking method helps retain natural color, crispiness, and freshness of the vegetables. Now, some of the disadvantages of sauteing. Risk of burning. There is always a risk of burning the food item because the high heat can quickly scorch the food or fat if not carefully monitored. Not for large quantities. This cooking method works best in small batches. Overcrowding the pan leads to steaming instead of sauteing. Uneven cooking. This cooking method requires frequent stirring or tossing to avoid uneven browning of the food items. Nutrient loss. If overcooked, delicate vitamins like vitamin C, B complex may be destroyed from the food items. Requires attention and skill. Constant monitoring is needed to prevent the food from burning and sticking with the pan. Timing and lossing techniques demands lots of practice. Limited food types. This cooking method is not suitable for larger cuts of meat or food requiring slow cooking. So the next cooking method that we are going to study is stir frying. In this cooking method, small amount of fat is used. The wok is used for cooking the food items. This cooking method uses medium to high heat. The cooking method is typically used for smaller cuts of meat, tender cuts, vegetables, and Chinese food items. This cooking method is considered a healthy cooking method. Now, some of the advantages of this stir frying method. Quick cooking. Food is cooked in just a few minutes, saving lots of time. Nutrient retention. Short cooking time helps preserve vitamins, minerals, and natural color of the food items. Less oil used. This cooking method requires only a small amount of oil compared to deep frying. Enhanced flavor and texture. Food remains crisp, colorful, and flavorful. Now, some of the disadvantages of this method. Constant attention needed. Food must be stirred continuously to avoid burning. This cooking method is not for large portions and best for small batches, not suitable for bulk cooking. Such special equipment. So this cooking method usually requires a wok or a deep pan and high heat source. Nutrient loss if overheated. Cooking at too high temperature can destroy sensitive vitamins present in the food items. So the next cooking method is baking. This cooking method involves use of hot air. Food is cooked by dry heat in an oven. The action is modified by the steam. Steam rises from the water content of the food and it combines with the dry heat of the oven to cook the food items. Baking traditionally refers to pastry items such as breads, sponge for cakes, and pastries. During the cooking process, heat is contained in an enclosed space such as an oven. This cooking method is expensive but a healthy cooking method. Advantages of baking. This cooking method is a healthier cooking method and requires little or no added fat compared to frying. It produces lighter, less greasy food items. Even cooking. Hot air circulates around the food, ensuring uniform cooking. Retains flavor and moisture. Proper baking seals natural flavors of the food items and keep the dish tender. Example, breads, cakes and meat items. Versatile method. This method is suitable for sweet and savory items such as breads, cakes, biscuits, pizzas, casseroles, meat and vegetables. Batch cooking. Multiple items can be baked at once in large ovens, saving the time for bulk production. Appealing texture and appearances. This cooking method creates golden crust, fluffy texture and appealing appearances, especially in baked items. Nutrient preservation. Compared to boiling, fewer nutrients are lost since food isn't properly immersed in the water. Now, some of the disadvantages of baking. Time consuming. This cooking method takes longer compared to frying and sauteing. Preheating also adds extra time to the food item that is going to be cooked. Energy intensive. Oven consumes more electricity or fuel, making it costlier. Requires skill and precision. Exact measurement, temperature and timing are crucial for cooking any food item through the method of baking. Small mistakes can spoil the final products, for example cakes collapsing and bread being undercooked. Limited to certain foods. This cooking method is not suitable for cooking all types of food items, example watery vegetables and delicate food items that has got lots of water content. Texture limitation. Through this cooking method we cannot achieve crispiness like frying or smokiness like grilling. Nutrient loss. Prolonged exposure to the heat can destroy some vitamins like vitamin C. Equipment dependence. Requires an oven, tray, molds and proper space which may not be available everywhere. Some of the examples of the food items that are cooked through baking method are eggs, meats such as steaks, Cornish pastries, chicken, vegetables such as potatoes, apples, fruit flans, cakes and breads. Now the next method is roasting. In this method, hot air is used for cooking of the food items. It traditionally refers to the meats and vegetables. It may be done in an enclosed space such as an oven with an aid of the fat or oil. This cooking may be done over or next to an open flame and it is commonly used with larger cuts of meats. Advantages of roasting. It's a healthy cooking method and requires minimal fat or oil compared to deep frying. Excess fat from meat often drips away, reducing calorie content. Enhanced flavor. Heat creates a browned caramelized surface which is called Maillard reaction, adding depth to the food item. Appealing texture. This cooking method produces a crispy, golden crust while keeping the inside moist and tender. Nutrient retention. Better nutrient preservation compared to boiling, no water or leach vitamins. Versatility. This cooking method is suitable for meat items, poultry items, fish, vegetables, fruits and nuts. Batch cooking. Larger portions can be roasted at once, which are useful in commercial cooking. Even cooking. With proper temperature control, food cooks uniformly inside and outside. Now, some of the disadvantages of this method. This method is time consuming because it is slower than sauteing, frying or grilling. It requires long cooking times for larger food items. Energy intensive. Uses electricity or fuel because of prolonged oven use. Risk of drying out. If not monitored, meat and vegetables can lose moisture and become dry. Nutrient loss. Extended high heat exposure may destroy the sensitive vitamins like vitamin C and some B vitamins. Required equipment. This cooking method needs an oven or roasting spit and it is not suitable for cooking everywhere outside. Skill required. Proper temperature and timing are essential, otherwise food may burn outside while staying raw inside. Texture limitation. does not provide the juiciness or frying or the softness of the steaming. Now, some of the examples of the food items that are cooked through roasting method: meat such as lamb, beef, pork and veal; poultry and game items like duck, chicken and pheasant; and vegetables like potatoes and parsnips. Now, there are different types of roasting. So, we are going to study each and every type one by one. So, the first type is oven roasting. As the name suggests, the roasting is done inside an oven. So, cooking food in an enclosed oven using hot, dry air from temperature 160 degrees centigrade to 240 degrees centigrade. The common food items that are cooked through this method are meat such as chicken, lamb, beef, pork; vegetables like potato, carrots and peppers; and nuts and fish items. Now, what are the key features of this type of roasting? Heat circulates around the food for even cooking, which produces a browned caramelized crust and tender inside. Cooking can be done with or without fat and oil. Now, the next type of roasting is open fire roasting, which is also called spit roasting and rotisserie. Food is skewered on a spit or rod and cooked over an open flame and heat source while continuously rotated. The common food items that are cooked through this method are whole poultry and larger cuts of meats and kebabs. Key features: continuous rotation ensures even cooking and self-basting. It produces a smoky flavor and crisp skin. This cooking method requires special equipment like a spit or a rotisserie. The next type of roasting is pot roasting, which is also called covered roasting and braising like method. In this cooking method, the meat is seared first and then roasted slowly in a covered pan with little liquid, often inside the oven or on a stove top. Common food items that are cooked through this method are tough cuts of meats like beef chucks, lamb shanks, pork shoulder, etc. Key features includes: it combines roasting and braising techniques, and moist heat breaks down the connective tissues, making tough meat items tender. This cooking method produces flavorful and juicyful results. And the last type of roasting is pan roasting. Definition: food is seared in a pan or a stove top, then finished in an oven with dry heat. The common food items that are cooked through this method are steaks, chicken breast, fish fillets and chops. Key features: this cooking method gives a caramelized crust which comes from searing, and even cooking which comes from roasting. This cooking method requires less oil compared to pan frying. Barbecue roasting, which is also called slow roasting over indirect heat. In this, cooking food slowly over direct indirect heat from charcoal, wood or gas, often covered with a liquid. Common food items that are cooked through this method are ribs, brisket, whole chicken and vegetables. Key features: this cooking method imparts smoky flavor from wood and charcoal. This cooking method is long, slow process at low temperature, which is 90 degrees centigrade to 150 degrees centigrade. This cooking method requires patience and lots of skills of the chef. Now, we are going to discuss the moist heat cooking methods. As you can see, the moist cooking methods are of 4 types, which are boiling, poaching, blanching and steaming. So we are going to study each of this method one by one. So we'll start from boiling. Now, what is boiling? Boiling is cooking prepared food in a liquid, which is water, bouillon, stock or milk at boiling point, which is 100 degrees centigrade. The temperature of the cooking liquid is 100 degrees Celsius or above. The food item to be cooked are completely immersed in the cooking liquid. Now, through boiling, it is done in 2 ways. Food is placed into a boiling liquid, reboiled, and then heat is reduced so that the liquid boils gently. The another method is in which food is covered with a cold liquid, brought to boil, and then the heat is reduced so that the food items simmer. Now, what are the advantages of boiling? It is very simple and easy method and requires no special skill or equipment beyond a pot and heat source. Healthy cooking. No or minimal fat is required, making it a low calorie method. Safe cooking. High temperature kills harmful bacteria, making food hygienic. Uniform cooking. Heat is transferred evenly through water, ensuring consistent results. Suitable for bulk cooking. Larger quantity of rice, pulses, eggs and vegetables can be boiled through this method. Versatile. This cooking method can be used for a wide variety of food items such as cereals, pasta, eggs, vegetables, pulses and meat. Retains natural flavor if water is minimized. Cooking method is particularly effective for soups, broths and stews where cooking liquid is consumed. Now, some of the disadvantages of this method. Nutrient loss. Water soluble vitamins such as B complex, vitamin C, etc. and minerals may leach into the cooking liquid, especially if discarded. Flavor loss. Natural flavor can be lost in water if it is drained after cooking. Texture issues. Overboiling can make vegetables mushy and meat tough. Time consuming. Some food items, example beans, tough meats require long boiling times. Limited variety in taste. Unlike roasting or frying, boiling does not produce caramelization or browning, so flavors are mild. Monotony. Food can appear bland if not seasoned or combined with other cooking methods. Not suitable for all foods. Delicate items may break through this cooking method, example fish, if it is not handled carefully. Some of the examples of the food items that are cooked by boiling method are stocks such as beef stock, mutton stock, chicken stock and fish stock, sauces such as brown sauce, white sauce, curry sauce, glazes such as fish glaze and meat glaze, soups such as tomato soup and lentil soup, farinaceous items such as different types of pastas, fish such as cod and salmon, meat items such as beef and leg of a mutton, and vegetables like carrots, cabbages and potatoes. Now the next method that we are going to study is blanching. Now what is blanching? Blanching is cooking in a liquid just long enough to cook the outer part of the food items. The food is usually placed in a hot water for a few minutes and then washed with cold water to stop the cooking process. This process retains the color of the food item and increases the shelf life. This process is usually used for vegetables, fruits and nuts. Now what are the benefits of blanching? Blanching softens the fruit slightly without fully cooking it. It helps in loosening the skin of the tomatoes, peaches and almonds for easy peeling so that the concasse can be used for different cookings. It keeps the natural color and flavor and texture of the vegetables and retains the bright green color in vegetables like beans and broccoli. It stops enzyme activity that causes spoilage in frozen vegetables. It helps to remove dirt and microorganisms from the surface of the food items. This cooking method reduces cooking time later when food is finally prepared. Now the next cooking method that we are going to study is poaching. Poaching is cooking food in a required amount of liquid at just below boiling point. The temperature of the cooking liquid is from 90 to 95 degrees centigrade, which is very precise. The cooking liquid should barely bubble. The cooking liquid can be water, broth or any bouillon. The examples of the food items that are cooked through this method are fish fillet, unshelled eggs and poultry. Now poaching can be done in two ways, shallow poaching and deep poaching. What happens in shallow poaching is foods like fish and chicken are cooked using minimum of liquid, which can be water, stock, milk or wine. The liquid is not allowed to boil, it is kept at a temperature close to boiling. And what happens in deep poaching is food items are cooked in enough water to cover them, brought to boil and then simmered just like poaching of eggs, or placed into simmering liquid and cooked gently till they are cooked completely. Now, what are the advantages of poaching method? Healthy cooking method. So as the name suggests, this is a healthy cooking method as it requires no added fat and it is ideal for low calorie diets. Retains moisture. The food items that are cooked through this method, they remain tender, moist and juicy due to gentle heat. Preserves delicate flavor. This method is especially suitable for subtle food items such as fish, chicken breast, pears, etc. Nutrient retention. Gentle heat helps preserve a certain heat sensitive vitamins better than boiling. Versatility. This cooking method can be used for savory food items such as eggs, fish, poultry, and sweet foods such as fruits and custards. Simple technique. Easy to execute with minimal equipment such as pan, liquid, heat. No risk of browning or burning. Since temperature is low, food does not scorch or dry out. Disadvantages of poaching. Mild flavor. Lacks the deep caramelized flavor developed by dry heat methods such as roasting, grilling. Possible nutrient loss. Some water-soluble vitamins and minerals may leach into liquid unless the liquid is consumed as a sauce or as a soup. Limited food types. Only suitable for delicate items, not appropriate for tougher cuts of meat. Texture limitation. This cooking method does not provide crispiness and browning, and results are soft and pale. Requires precision. Temperature control is critical. If liquid gets too hot, delicate items such as eggs and fish may break or toughen. Time factor. This cooking method is slower as compared to boiling or frying for certain food items. Some of the examples of the food items that are cooked by poaching method are farinaceous items such as gnocchi, eggs, fish such as sole, fruits such as fresh and dried fruits, and poultry such as chicken. Now the next cooking method is steaming. What is steaming? It is moist cooking method that cooks food in a closed pot or steamer that traps heated water vapors and cooks the food as it circulates around the food items. Low pressure steaming. Food may be cooked by direct or indirect contact with the steam. What happens in direct cooking method is it is done in a steamer or in a pan of boiling water, for example, for cooking steak items. What happens in indirect method is that between two plates over a pan of boiling, the container is kept and the heat is provided. High pressure steaming. It requires an in-purpose built equipment, does not steam to escape. Steam pressures build up, the temperature increases and the cooking time is reduced. Now, what are the advantages of this cooking method? Healthy cooking method. It requires no oil or fat, making it low in calories and health friendly. Nutrient retention. Better preserves vitamins and minerals compared to boiling, since food does not leach nutrients into the water. Enhances natural flavor and color. Vegetables remain bright, fresh, crisp and tender, and retains the natural taste of the food items. Moist and tender texture. Prevents drying out of food, ideal for delicate items such as fish, chicken and dumplings. Safe and simple method. This method is easy to perform and reduces the risk of burning of the food items. Versatility. This method is suitable for a wide range of food items such as rice, buns, momos, which are also called dim sums, idlis, fish, poultry and vegetables. Batch cooking possible. Multiple items can be steamed together in tiers. Now, some of the disadvantages of this method. Mild flavor. It lacks the caramelized, roasted or smoky taste achieved through dry heat methods. Limited food type. This cooking method is not suitable for all foods, example larger cut of meats or food that requires crisper texture. Longer cooking time. The cooking time is generally slower than boiling or frying. Texture limitation. Food may become too soft or bland if oversteamed. Requires equipment. This cooking method needs a steamer or steaming setup, not always available in all the kitchens. Nutrient loss. Although better than boiling, some heat sensitive vitamins like vitamin C may be lost through this cooking method. Now the food items that are cooked through this method are fish items, meat like tongue, ham, bacon and almost all the vegetables. Now the combination methods that includes both dry heat and moist heat. Now the cooking methods includes braising and stewing. So let us get to know what is braising. Braising is a method of cooking food items in the oven. The food is cooked in liquid in a covered pan or a casserole. This cooking method is a combination of stewing and pot roasting method of cooking. The food is browned in a small amount of fat, then liquid is added. This way, the food items are seared to lock in juices and flavors. In this process, 1/2 of 2/3 of the food item is covered in the pan. The food item retains its from during cooking process. Whole or dry pieces of meats and poultry are braised. Typical food items braised are roast, ribs and briskets. Now, advantages of this braising method: tenderizes tough cuts. Slow cooking breaks down collagens in meat, making them soft and flavorful. Enhanced flavor. Searing develops rich caramelized flavors, and slow cooking in liquid infuses the food with depth and aroma. Moist and juicy results. Cooking in liquid prevents food from drying out. Nutritive value. Nutrients from food often stay in the cooking liquid, which can be used as a sauce or a gravy. Versatility. Suitable for meats, poultry, fish, root vegetables and legumes. One pot cooking. Reduces cleanups, allows cooking of protein and vegetables together. Cost effective. Makes inexpensive, tougher cuts of meat tender and palatable. Disadvantages of braising. It's a time consuming method. Slow cooking requires several hours, not ideal for quick meals. Requires equipment. Needs a heavy covered pot or Dutch oven. Stove top or over braising is common. Flavor limitation. Does not produce crispy or charred texture and food remains soft. Monitoring required. Needs occasional checking to maintain correct liquid levels and prevent burning. Not suitable for delicate food items. Fish fillets, tender vegetables or thin cuts of meats may fall apart if this cooking method is used. Calorie consideration. Depending on added fats and sauces, braised dishes can become rich and calorie dense. Now, the examples of food items that are cooked through this method are farinaceous food items such as rice and pasta, meat items such as lamb and beef, poultry items such as duck, and vegetables like celery and onions. Now, stewing. What is stewing? Stewing is a long, slow cooking method where food is cut into pieces and cooked in the minimum amount of liquid, water, stock, or sauces. In this cooking method, the food and cooking liquid are served together in the casserole. Food is generally cut into bit-sized pieces. Like braising, the food is browned in a small amount of fat, then liquid is added. Food items are fully covered with water when this cooking method is used. Stewed foods may be cooked in a covered pan on the stove or in the covered pan in the oven. Characteristics of stew food are rich flavor and fork tenderness. Now, the advantages of stewing method: tenderizes tough cuts. Slow simmering breaks down the connective tissues present in the meat item, producing tender meat. Rich flavor development. Long cooking allows flavors to meat, vegetables and seasoning, creates a distinct savory taste. Moist and juicy food. Cooking in liquid keeps the food moist and prevents drying out. Nutritive value. Nutrients leach into the cooking liquid, which is often consumed as a part of the stew. Versatility. This method is suitable for meat, poultry, vegetables, legumes and grains. Economical. Inexpensive cuts of meats become tender and flavorful. One pot cooking. Minimal cleanup, ideal for home and cooking or bulk preparations. Now, what are the disadvantages of stewing? It is time consuming. Slow cooking may take 1 to 3 hours and this method is not suitable for making quick meals. Requires attention. Needs occasional stirring and monitoring to prevent sticking of excessive evaporation. Mild texture and appearances. Food may become soft or mushy and it does not produce crispy or brown texture. Calorie consideration. Depending on the fat content and added ingredients, stews can be high in calories. Limited to certain foods. This method is not suitable for delicate or quick cooking ingredients. Now, some of the food items that are cooked through this method are fish, for example, bouillabaisse, French fish soup and stews. Meat items such as goulash, minced beef, Irish stew, white stew of veal. Poultry items such as chicken fricassee and curried chicken, and vegetables such as ratatouille. So friends, this was all from my side in this session. We'll meet again for the next session. Thank you.